Today's program is being recorded by West Hartford Community Interactive and will be available on YouTube later today for those who could not attend, and on Frontier and Comcast later in the week. I'm happy to see so many from the West Hartford community here today, including members of our town council and other town representatives. Of course, we have several members of our business community and many of our nonprofit partners in attendance. We're also joined today by private citizens with a deep interest in their community. We also have Senator Derek Slapp with us today. Welcome. We have many members of the Chamber of Commerce in attendance. Several representatives from the Chamber's board are with us today, including our chairman, Bob Kulikowski. I'd like to ask members of the board to stand to be recognized. Thank you for your service to the Chamber and the guidance you provide. I would also like to recognize the other members of the Chamber team who were diligently working to get you folks registered, Jesse Bouclier and Kate Cobes, who worked hard on organizing today's event. I think they heard you. I would also like to personally welcome Mayor Cantor and the members of her family. Thank you for being with us today. An event such as this is not possible without, yes, please, yes, of course. An event such as this is not possible without the generosity of our sponsors. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, TD Bank, our gold sponsors, the Mercy Community, UHY Advisors, and Westfield Bank. Our silver sponsors are Cedar Hill Home Inspection, Daily Moving and Storage, and American School for the Deaf, who have also provided us with our sign language interpreter. Thank you. And our media sponsor, WH Media. These businesses are more than a logo on a screen. They are also organizations who work in their own way toward a stronger community. We thank them for their support of today's program. The Chamber's relationship with the town of West Hartford goes back over 100 years. In my first full year as executive director, I've had an opportunity to work closely with many town officials and departments on a variety of projects and initiatives. On 3 separate occasions, I had the honor of addressing the town council on behalf of our members. When I do so, I am not representing one member, but rather the over 550 businesses and organizations that make up the Chamber. In all 3 instances, the council considered the request and approved them. The Holiday Stroll is a collaboration between the Chamber, Blueback Square, and the West Hartford Center Business Association and the town. This year, we had over 5,000 people participate in the holiday fun. The police and fire departments, public works, municipal parking, and the mayor's office, and countless others lent time and resources to make for a memorable family event for the citizens of West Hartford. The Chamber regularly works close with the town's economic development specialist, Kristen Gorski, who provides both new and existing businesses guidance and resources to assist in their success. Recently, Kristen, along with Chuck Corsi, the chairman of the Chamber's Economic Development Committee, and I have been reaching out to some of the larger employers in town to tour their businesses and learn about the challenges they face. This is being done with the goal of finding opportunities for us to provide solutions. Mayor Cantor herself is a true friend to the Chamber. She is often just a text away. The mayor makes her attendance at grand openings and other Chamber events a priority. It is my observation that ribbon cuttings are much more than a photo op for her. She takes a genuine interest in not just the business, but the people who make up the business. They truly appreciate your support. I think we all agree that West Hartford is a special place. It is both beautiful and diverse. Our residents are welcoming. We are recognized internationally for our schools. People travel long distances for our incredible restaurants. Our shopping is second to none, and our cultural attractions are simply amazing. Wouldn't it be great if we had a simple way to let people know all the wonderful things to do in West Hartford? There it is. I am happy to announce that this coming spring, the Chamber will release the inaugural Discover West Hartford Guide. Designed with visitors in mind, this full-color guide with maps will highlight the best in dining, shopping, pampering, and playing. From Elmwood to Bishop's Corner and everything in between, it will be the definitive guide to the full West Hartford experience. Oh, and did I mention listing in this guide is an exclusive benefit only for Chamber members? It's being created with the help of WH Media, and I have it on good authority that, among other places, it will be put in every room at the Delamar. I'm excited to hear Mayor Cantor's assessment of the current state of the town and her vision for what the future holds. I am also looking forward to continuing to work with her and others with the town to explore the ways the Chamber can be an active partner in fulfilling that vision. Just want to direct your attention to the sheets on your table. There's a little trivia contest today. There's one for each table, and I guess after lunch or before lunch, we will collect those. Okay, and are we announcing the prize now, or? At the very end, you find out what you win, so work as a team on it. There's only one question and no cheating. Well, the food smells great, so I would like to now invite the head table to proceed to the buffet. The Delamar staff will instruct the rest of the tables to go. Enjoy.
I'm here to introduce Steve Litchfield from TD Bank, our representative sponsor. Thank you very much for your support here today. Steve joined TD Bank in October of 2015 as the Regional Vice President for the Greater Hartford market. He has over 35 years experience in commercial banking as a credit analyst, relationship manager, risk manager, and market manager of various banks over the years. Well, he's got a good resume. Steve works with privately held family businesses and public companies to provide them with services and products needed to support their businesses. Steve holds a Bachelor of Arts degrees from Colby College and an MBA from Finance Marketing from Boston College. He's an active member of various chambers of commerce. He is an ambassador for the Bushnell Center for Performing Arts, serves on the campaign committee of the United Way of Central Connecticut, and is past president of the Exchange Club of West Hartford. He is formerly on the board of directors of the Hartford Economic Development Fund and Community Economic Development Fund, and is a West Hartford resident. Steve, thank you.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you, Chris, as well, and welcome, everybody. It's great to see so many familiar faces and so many people here. Like you, I'm a resident of town. I have business interests here, and always look forward to the mayor's comments about the state of our town. On behalf of TD Bank, it's an honor again to once again be the presenting sponsor. I'm joined today by many of my colleagues from the small business group, retail banking group, our wealth management group, and commercial banking group. Before I introduce the mayor, I do want to spend just a couple of minutes and make a couple comments about the bank. The first is we've had a little confusion in the marketplace. You probably read a little bit about TD Ameritrade and Charles Schwab merging. That will occur most likely at the end of the year. But we've had some questions of customers that have come into our branches, or our stores, as we call them, and asked if we're closing any branches. And I just want to reassure people that we're not closing our two branches in town, one on South Main Street and the other one on North Main Street at Bishop's Corner. And as far as TD Ameritrade goes, that's a completely separate organization from TD Bank. And Charles Schwab and TD Ameritrade will be meeting over the next course of the next several months, and I'm sure there'll be announcements about their plans. But I just want to reassure people that we're open for business and we plan on being here in the future. Second, with regards to corporate and social responsibilities, TD Bank actively works with many not-for-profit organizations. Many of them, I see many of you here today as well, and many in the greater Hartford area. And we're proud of the support that we offer, both in terms of our money and our time. Over the last 5 years, we've donated over $5 million to organizations throughout the Connecticut, and I know the bulk of that money goes to organizations here in greater Hartford. In addition, our employees spend a tremendous amount of not only their time, but their financial resources as well to contribute to our community. In particular, I wanted to comment on two affordable housing projects that TD Bank has supported here in town. You may not be aware of it, but we provided both construction financing as well as permanent financing for the project on New Park Ave. That's going to be 67 housing units, and there's some work to be done there in terms of converting some one-bedrooms to two-bedrooms and really creating a great space for the residents there. So we don't talk much about it. We don't really promote that, but I just wanted to, particularly with this crowd, we know how important affordable housing opportunities are. West Hartford continues to be a dynamic and vibrant community, and we want to make it affordable for all our residents and for all our people. So we're proud of that support. On that behalf, I want to thank the town planning and zoning folks, the town engineer's office, and most importantly, the West Hartford Housing Authority for all their work in getting these projects completed. And now let me introduce the mayor. It's my privilege and honor to introduce Shari Cantor. She was born and raised here in West Hartford as well, and is a graduate of Hall High School. Before becoming mayor in 2016, she has been a member of the town council since 2004. Shari graduated magna cum laude with an accounting degree from the UConn School of Business. After UConn, Shari worked for Coopers & Lybrand, now PricewaterhouseCoopers, in audit and tax, and earned her CPA designation. She was then recruited to Cigna, working in investments and special projects, including working on a McKinsey & Company study, and ultimately as a manager in underwriting. Shari is a UConn Board of Trustee and has been serving since her appointment in 2014. She has devoted time to volunteer leadership with the American Heart Association, the Connecticut Children's Medical Center, West Hartford Rotary, Food Share, the Jewish Federation of Greater Hartford, the West Hartford Art League, the Hartford Symphony Orchestra, and the American School for the Deaf. She and her husband Michael were awarded the Anti-Defamation League Torch of Liberty Award in 2017. Shari was inducted into the University of Connecticut School of Business Hall of Fame in March 2017, and she was named a Malta Wonder Woman in 2016, Best Community Leader, Hartford Magazine 2012, West Hartford Rotarian of the Year in 2011, and in 2011 also the Hartford Magazine put her on the best dressed list. Shari has been married to Michael Cantor, co-managing partner of a global intellectual property law firm, Cantor Colburn, since 1985. They have 4 sons and a daughter-in-law, Josh and Teresa, Sam, Ben, and Jacob. Shari is honored to serve her hometown community where her mother still resides in her childhood home. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Shari Cantor.
Okay, I got taller. Thank you, Steve, and thank you for TD's support and the incredible investment you've made in our community and a really important part of our community in affordable housing and choices in housing. So thank you all for being here today. This is a really wonderful event, and thank you to the Chamber for hosting us again. Thank you, Chris. I know that Barbara's in the back and she's like, I'm free and don't have to do anything. It's awesome. And thank you to the Delamar for hosting us. Thank you for Jesse Bouclier, because none of this would happen without your, all of your putting everything together. Thank you to all the sponsors, they're gone now, of the event. And I want to really thank Renee McHugh for her help with this. We tried to do a little bit of creative journey, so I hope you enjoy it. There's a lot of our town staff is here to hear all the wonderful things that are going on, and I'm sure to support each other and to support me. So Town Manager Matt Hart is here. I don't know if Tom Moore made it, but he was trying to get here. Superintendent of Schools, our Community Development Director, Mark McGovern, Economic Development Specialist, Kristen Gorski, Police Chief Vernon Riddick is here, Assistant Chief Dan Coppinger and Larry Terra are here, Fire Chief Greg Priest and Assistant Chief Hugh O'Callahan, and there's a lot of other people in the department, and I hope you come up and introduce yourselves and meet them if you haven't already. And I am so grateful that my wonderful family is here to join me. My husband, Michael, my oldest son, Josh, is here. My son, Ben, and his girlfriend, Tricia, are also here. And my wonderful mother, who is going to be 92 this year, is amazing. And I want to thank her. And my dear friend, Jessica, has also joined us today. I know that Senator Slapp got a shout out. I hope he's still here. I think he's in the back. Yeah. And 2 of my previous colleagues, I think, are in the house, Judy Casperson and Chuck Corsi. Appreciate them being here. And the Deputy Mayor, Leon Davidoff, is here today, and Minority Leader Lee Gold is as well. So thank you so much. There's a little thing happening in DC right now, and I don't really want to go there too much, but I do need to ask you a question. What did Paul Manafort say after hearing Trump might get impeached? He said, "I beg your pardon." You're supposed to laugh. And I left, I really am just touching on this. I left a little peach candle, little tea candle at each of your tables, so you can bring a little peach home with you and do what you may with it. And as Forrest Gump would say, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So, last year, we used a Twitter theme, or I used a Twitter theme. But actually, this year I've opted out. I think I need to step away from Twitter and turn up some music. So this year, we're going to use a little bit of a music theme to take you along on this reflection on, and presentation of the Talk of the Town. So, good luck with it. So 2020, I don't know about you, but it always seems so futuristic to me. As we begin a new decade, it's time to pause, look back over the past 10 years, and even touch upon the last 100 years to remember all of those who made improvements that we enjoy today. As Chris said, the Chamber's 100 years old. That's pretty remarkable. Time. It's true that most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a year and underestimate what they can achieve in a decade. So the turning of a decade gives us pause and allows us to reflect on where we came from and where we are going. As Confucius said, he called reflection the most noble way to learn wisdom. Usually leadership traits are described as innovation, ability to make strategic decisions, to manage uncertainty. But reflection has actually been found to be a core trait of a great leader. Reflection is different than critical thinking, which is more focused on problem solving and an end goal. Reflecting upon finishing a job enhances performance, but more than the experience of doing it. CEOs actually spend 70% of their time interacting with others, or in person or virtually. The rest of their time they spend on activities supporting these interactions, such as travel and preparing for meetings, leaving little or no time for focused reflection. Even 15 minutes a day toward the end of the day can be so helpful. What could I do differently is not really the question to ask, is why did this happen and how to change what might happen. So 100 years ago, let's go back 100 years. West Hartford's population was 8,854. Our mill rate was 15, but not for long. Total budget was close to $411,000. Education budget was $122,000, $495. Grand list was $21,432,479, and we had 3 police officers, and we were the town manager was also the police chief. So we were the first town in Connecticut to start the council manager form of government. And a lot of people aren't aware that we were one of the first, and it is actually one of the first in the country. The town manager is the CEO. The council are the policy board that governs the town, and the CEO is responsible for carrying out the policies of the council. And then 15 councilors were elected in 1920, and the first meeting was on April 12th, 1921. The mill rate as of this date was already 18. So there you go. 100 years ago, our principal industries were milk, tobacco farming, market gardening specialists, and the extensive raising of flowers under glass, which we've determined is probably greenhouses, manufacturing of brick, bent pipe, steel tempering, ball bearings, hardware novelties, and ice storage for outdoor markets. Really important industries for the time. It worked really well when we ran through it. I don't know. Okay, 100 years ago, just bear with me. 100 years ago, on January 17th, 1920, Prohibition began, and men took a stand to let their voices be heard in a roar. This was a result of the ratified 18th Amendment, prohibiting intoxicating liquors, with attempted enforcement through the Volstead Act to eliminate drunkenness, get rid of saloons, and prevent absenteeism. There were severe economic consequences and many unintended consequences, pushing alcohol to the illegal market where bootlegging and organized crime flourished. We still actually see those remnants of all of that today. The country recognized that, and it was, quote, the noble experiment was a failed one, and in 1933, the 21st Amendment withdrew prohibition. 100 years later, the alcohol and hospitality industry is worth $100 billion and an important part of West Hartford's vibrancy and success. Right, Ben? It's my son. We have a lot to thank for our soul sisters from 1920s. After a long-fought battle, the 19th Amendment became part of the U.S. Constitution on August 18, 1920, stating the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex, giving all women in the U.S. the right to vote after a long-fought battle. On August 18, 1920, Tennessee was actually the 36th state to ratify the amendment. Representatives from Connecticut were not scheduled to meet until September. So by the time the representatives met in September, the amendment had already been ratified. So although Connecticut wasn't part of the 36 to ratify, they happened to be the 37. So a little bit of trivia. My mother was 8 years old when women were allowed the ability to vote, and she has never missed an election. So 10 years ago, what were the industries that we were really thinking, wow, how cool? iPhone 4. Have you seen an iPhone 4 lately? They're antiques now, right? I actually brought in, I think it was you had an iPhone 4, Mom, and I haven't seen these in years when I brought it back to the Apple store. iPad 1 was introduced. That was a big deal on April 3rd. And the top grossing movies, which was Toy Story 3, Blind Side, and Inception. And interesting enough, as of 2010, Twitter was 4 years old. Facebook was 6 years old, and now it is one of the most valuable companies in the world. There was no Snapchat, no Instagram, no TikTok. In 2020, we will be seeing, according to Apple Loop, the release of the iPhone 12. It will be the first cell phone with 5G capability, notchless display, and a quad camera. You know, I have the 3, and we're going to 4 now. Top products, Roomba, air fryer, Apple Watch Series 5, AirPods, I don't know, young parents, that Baby Shark thing. Oh. And top movies, actually, Toy Story 4. It's kind of funny, 10 years for Toy Story 3. 1917, which we just saw, great movie. Marriage Story, Joker, Captain Marvel. And in 2010, this was interesting. We took a random sample of homes all across town, residents, and compared their property tax, what their bills, not the mill rate, but the value of their home to the current mill rate, and compared 2010 to 2019. And this is really interesting. There was only one of those homes that had an increase in property taxes from 2010 to 2019, and that was less than 1% per year in that time period, which is pretty interesting. So if any of you want to look more, I'm happy to share more data with you on that. But you can also use Zillow. It's very easy. Social media has changed our world. As you saw in the technologies and what was happening, what's driving us, it's the best-selling items that we have in our merchandise today. And Socrates was nervous about the written word. I mean, when in his day, everything was spoken. The written word, he said, creates forgetfulness in learners' souls because they will not use their memories. Imagine what he would think today. Literacy has improved mankind, and social media, we can't deny, is the most powerful communication tool and we need to understand the benefits and the consequences of this technology. I know it's changed my own life. When my husband yells, "Hey Shari," I hear, how can I help you, from Siri. And I have a good friend whose daughter's Alexa. She goes, not so easy having a daughter named Alexa right now. So think about that. So events in the past decade has startled us and changed much of the way we live. Tailored messages have come our way, targeted audience, and with costs that are much, much less than any kind of advertising we used to do. So traditional advertising never pinpointed audiences. Now we can consume what we want to consume. We don't need to see or hear what we don't necessarily want to see and hear, and that puts us in bubbles, wherever those bubbles may lie. News outlets are beholden to Facebook, but they also weren't supported. So they're actually, many of them are on lifelines or don't have the staffs or support that they used to have. And social media is an incredibly powerful tool, locally, nationally, and globally, for organizing protests, marches, connecting people in environments all around the globe. So social media is designed, actually, to cause an array of disruptions. It's continuing to grow fast and discover itself. And it was interesting, I was a professor from University of Hartford that said actually social media is in its teen years. Misinformation and disinformation is rampant, grows fast and still discovering itself, and just learning the effects of some of the consequences of their actions for us. Mental health actually is known to, there's mental health consequences as well. Oh, come on, join me. Connecticut has some challenges, along with some really positive uptown funk indicators that I will share with you in the next few slides. The CBIA's annual forecast by Eric Rosengren, CEO of the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, said Connecticut's strongest sectors are defense and financial. Connecticut, like much of New England, is not growing in population, although many of our neighboring towns in New England have a large magnet city to draw young people, and those sections are growing: Boston, Providence, Portland, Burlington. Our cities are smaller, and they have higher unemployment rates. In a tight overall job market, job training is going to be extra critical to make sure that we align those available resources with employer needs. So it's positive. What's also so positive about our region and our area is right in the 100 miles of the Hartford region, there are 297 colleges, which is amazing. And that is something that employers really look for. The DECD commissioner actually spoke with CCM recently, and he spoke about his 4 priorities and the governor's 4 priorities. Not surprising: transportation, education and workforce pipeline. The Workforce Governors Council was established with corporate leaders along with higher institution leaders, strengthening our cities and committing to fiscal responsibility so that there is a stable forecast and people can predict and understand what's going to happen to them financially, people and businesses. We need more people. We need more productivity. We need to build on mass transit, this is his, and not waste time in traffic. So he has committed to, there's some financing, helping minority and female-owned businesses. They're going to traditionally be supportive of that and really be a partner with growing businesses throughout the state. The targeted industries, this was also something that was published recently. Finance insurance has 3 times the density of finance and insurance in the United States of Connecticut, in the United States, oh my God, in the United States of America. Life sciences and biosciences are also one of our key industries. Manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, aerospace and defense, we have 5 times the density of employment in the state of Connecticut than throughout the whole United States. Technology, software, and data analytics are areas that we're going to continue to grow. The fastest growing sectors, obviously, are healthcare. We all know that we have an aging population, baby boomers are aging, and that is a really important part of this economy. And warehousing, too, is another industry. I think we just, recently there was an article about Home Depot opening up a very, very large warehouse in, I think it was South Windsor. But that's going to be something we're going to continue to hear about in Amazon, et cetera. Locally, there's been significant focus on insurance technology, advanced manufacturing, and the health technologies. In the last few years, a large number of tech accelerators and incubators introduced in the greater Hartford area are leading an influx of startups from around the world. A specific example of the impact on communities around Tech Accelerator, financed by Stanley Black & Decker, has brought advanced manufacturing startups, one of which is a 3D printing company from Ireland. And the two founders from Ireland are living and loving West Hartford. The fastest growing so Parkville actually has been identified as it's an opportunity zone. This is the Parkville section of Hartford, but the connector, West Hartford Avenue, has been identified as an opportunity zone to develop an ecosystem of advanced manufacturing. I think in the next 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to see a solid plan of what that is going to look like. It's been in the works for a while now, and I had the opportunity to talk to Marty Guay from Stanley Black & Decker and Jim Luray. The commitment is remarkable, and I think you'll be very impressed. It will impact West Hartford, it will impact the region, and it's really important to the state of Connecticut. The CBRE Hartford Market Outlook was also presented recently. Housing, and there are a lot of good indicators. 60-year low in unemployment. We've had growth rates, although they haven't been as robust as we would like, but they're 1.5% to 2%. The office and capital markets are doing well. We've had record occupancy in hotels nationwide, which is a good indicator, and locally as well. We've had we beat past records. Our challenge will be to continue to increase the desirability and working in the state and our region. But two West Hartford projects were highlighted. One was the investment sale of the S.K. Lavery building to Stone Point Investments at $8 million, or $213 per square foot, which is noted as the highest square foot sales price in the Hartford market in 2019. The second was 8,000 square foot lease to Aiken Gump in Blueback Square, and has been that was my son's hiccupping, debating between Hartford and West Hartford, and choose Blueback Square due to the vibrant mixed-use setting and walkable, business-dense area. And that does not go unnoticed for us. Also, one of my colleagues, Rob Levine, who is on the actually on the Realtor board, he's the Realtor Greater Hartford Association of Realtors board president. He's also on the Board of Education. He said closed home sales price rose 2.6%, and the outlook for 2020 is looking good, especially with record low interest rates. Millennials and baby boomers, millennials trying to buy homes and baby boomers, many trying to downsize. It's a good dynamic to happen. And this is also interesting. A new study by Fabric, a Brooklyn-based financial planning firm, finds Hartford, East Hartford, and West Hartford collectively form the fourth best-paying locale in the country for millennials, those born between 1980s and the mid-1990s. That's pretty sweet, like sugar. Hartford area apparently boasts a far better value than many metros, many times its size, where young people especially are being priced out of trendy districts. In and around Connecticut's capital city, the study found millennials with full-time jobs are making an unadjusted median of $50,000, about $10,000 more than the national average. Adjusted cost of living factor is $49,100. The median home price is $252,000. By comparison, millennial workers in Boston and suburbs close to Boston are $6,000. That's the cost of living adjustment. So for every dollar you learn here, you lose a little. In Boston, you're losing quite a bit. The median home price, as we all know, is more than double what it is here. Topping the list of best paying cities for millennials was San Jose because of high tech. And that's something that Connecticut is focusing on. It's amazing that Fabric's top 10 metro areas with above average purchasing power includes San Jose, San Francisco, Boston, Hartford, Baltimore, Minneapolis, Bismarck, Des Moines, Columbus, and Milwaukee. Impressive list to be among. And I'm getting there with the kind of the financial indicators. Best of 2019, Connecticut mirrors State North Star Policy Institute ranked, again, not what we hear in the news, but ranked, but these are facts, to state the GDP, government expenditures to state GDP ranks second lowest in 50 states. Only New Hampshire spends less on government. Ernst & Young rated the state corporate tax rate for businesses the fourth lowest out of the 50 states, with Connecticut corporate tax revenues comprising last, actually, of all state revenues. In 2011, Connecticut had 11 Fortune 500 headquarters, and now it is home to 17. There were also 11 billionaires in Connecticut. Now there are 17. There's been an increase in millionaires, 20% increase in millionaires since 2010. And from what I understand, Tom Brady will increase that by 1, right? So. Connecticut also ranked 5th highest in median household income, and the government sector has been shrinking, but unfunded pensions continue to be a real challenge for the state of Connecticut. Now, the CIRC report, and I'll go through this really quickly, the numbers are really staggering, and it's really important for you to know. Connecticut ranks really high in a ton of matrix. 4th in the US for the most innovative economy, 4th in the nation for bioscience patents per capita, 4th in the nation for private R&D investment per capita, 10 for R&D intensity productivity clusters of companies in technology and patent activity, 2nd among states in terms of internet connectivity, number 1 in the US for insurance employees per capita, and then number 4 in the nation for productivity of the labor force defined by GDP per capita. Sorry if you couldn't hear me, number 8 in the nation for science and engineering doctorates in the workforce, and 7 in US investment in workforce development. And just yesterday in the Hartford Business Journal, Joe Cooper from Galaxy E-Solutions, if you saw it, reported that he will be creating hundreds of jobs. Tim Bryan, their CEO, talked about Hartford as being one of the best kept secrets in the country, and the greater Hartford area has having a remarkable talent pool. These are really important. Jim Himes actually said one word for Connecticut is that it is innovative, and it always has been. And West Hartford is a star among Connecticut. Our indicators are really, really impressive. We have over 6,000 building permits. Our property tax collection rate is 99.3%. Our unemployment rate is 2.8%. Our fund balance is the highest it's been. This is unrestricted. We have other funds that are committed to things, but 9.1%. Home prices solidly above the state average, $315,000. We have a stable population when many communities are losing population. We have a really strong economic position, and just yesterday, Moody's rated us the highest possible financial rating, a stable AAA bond rating, and we're waiting on Standard & Poor's and expect the same rating for them as well. We continue, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it isn't easy, and there are less than 1% of communities around the country that are rated AAA by both Moody's and Standard & Poor's. And we continue to see grand list growth. We also, CROG just released a study with the Capital Region Council of Governments. My husband always says, spell it out, don't say the acronym. The Greater Hartford Community Wellbeing Index from 2019. This is an indicator of social progress, economic opportunity, and population well-being in the Greater Hartford area. The Greater Hartford Foundation was part of funding this, and the survey includes 38 towns in the region. We were ranked number 1 in every single category, which is really, really amazing. In all matrix, so community index, personal well-being index, neighborhood assets index, and we continue to rise while the statistics show that we're becoming increasingly diverse in ethnicity, income, and age. So those are all things to be very, very proud of. come on, give me a little something back. All right, UConn impact on West Hartford. UConn, as you know, is the sole flagship research university in the state. It generates $5.3 billion impact to the Connecticut economy. West Hartford has the most UConn alumni in the state of Connecticut. Can you raise your hand if you're a UConn alum? So, yay. I got two hands, but did you, yeah, so I'm sure you recognize the fight song, and if you didn't, that was the UConn fight song. The largest number of residents employed by the university also is, first happens to be Mansfield, but second is West Hartford, Connecticut. So not only does it provide a lot of the talent that, and people reside here, but also it is a job creator. We also are the in-state students. The largest is Stanford. Second largest is West Hartford at very close to Stanford, less than 100 students less, at almost 900 students. So it actually serves our pupils well, and they're getting into a competitive school, which is wonderful. And hopefully not burdened with the tremendous amount of student debt that happens with so many of our young people today. I'm not sure I'm proud of this statistic, but clinical visits to UConn Health Facility, dental and medical, West Hartford's #1. We've helped. 96,614 visits as compared to Farmington. For a smaller community, actually 93,000 visits. So this UConn is critical to provide mobility for our students and allow them. And we have the largest Nepalese population in the state of Connecticut, and so many of the young students from our high schools are going to UConn and feel that it has allowed them to really flourish, and we're so proud of that. Our young represents the world we live in, diverse, multicultural, full of hope. West Hartford Public Schools is one of the jewels in our crown. Let's take a look at how unique our schools are, though. 22% are non-English speakers at home. 74 languages are spoken in our schools. 43% are minority. 25% qualify for free or reduced lunch. We spend 107th and per pupil spending out of 169 communities. And we are compared to towns, Glastonbury, Simsbury, Farmington, Avon, Greenwich, and Fairfield, that don't have the diversity that we have in our school population. If we spent the same as we spent, as those, our DERG, our reference group, we would spend $10 million higher every year in our budget. So those are really things we're very, very proud of. We also continue to be the only town in Connecticut and one of the only municipalities in the country with less than 1 million residents with 2 gold medal winning high schools by U.S. News and World Report, both ranked in the top 3% of American high schools. And more AP exams are taken by our students than any other town in Connecticut. Those are really phenomenal statistics. Don't leave. Bye. As our police chief says, and we know, we have a very safe community with highly qualified public safety professionals and resources, and they would take a grenade for us. So they would do anything. And this actually, that was mine. This is the chief's. Although we are safe, we do not live in a utopia. We are all partners, the police department with the town manager and council, board of education, but most of all with our residents and businesses. Violent crime is down over the last 2018 to 2019 by 31%. We have, like all of Connecticut, have seen an increase in break-ins. It continues to be a challenge. I don't know if it's an increase, but it continues to be a significant challenge. But 90% of the break-ins, those cars are unlocked or keys have been left in the car. So it's a continued message that we send to make sure that you're taking responsibility for, trying to prevent as much as you can. We actually did have a couple of carjackings, which is a really scary dynamic. So what did our police do? The day that our carjacking was reported, that night I think our police chief had started an auto theft task force, committing resources to making sure that we put a stop to that dynamic. And the arrests were immediately made the next day. So thank you all very much for all that you do. And we also are reaching out to, we've been working with the FBI and our faith institutions to make sure that everybody is aware of increased chatter and threats online, and when they are real, that we are in the front line of awareness and guiding them through best practices to make sure that they are part of a solution and keeping our community safe. We also have a registry program for commercial businesses, so if you have cameras, you can register those cameras with the police and then play back if you have something that you want to identify, use that tape. So that's really important. But you have to register right? You have to register. Exactly. Thank you. Come on, give me sleep. Yeah, so this is the IT department. Oh, no. No, are you paying attention? That was fire. The fire department has made some significant improvements. Improved personnel deployment has been critical for them to deal with their increased responsibilities. Centralized all incident reporting requirements. The emergency management system has been a priority, and they have a new EMS response model, and they're providing EMS service that is far improved from what we had before. And I will say that we're going to continue. We've committed to an efficiency and effectiveness study, and there were some great suggestions in there, and we're going to continue to do what we can in the best way we can, keep our community safe in the most efficient way. And just last week, there were 2 structure fires where the whole company of 21 were deployed, which is a really important thing to remember and notice. Public Works, Old Town Roads. We maintain our Old Town roads, and they are. Its transportation system, parks, and the town's fleet. West Hartford is a leading community, not only in maintenance of our assets, and again, there are older assets that it's harder and harder to keep up with what we have. We have 220 miles of road in our community. And West Hartford is leading the community in an increasing issue. I think you've all heard a lot about waste management. It's such a hot topic, but it really is a challenge, and the recycling markets have changed. Waste management is a real challenge for all of the Northeast and continues to be a challenge for us. We actually are separating food scraps from our waste stream. They're the heaviest collection of waste. Rockledge Grill, which is a town-owned, we collected over 7,000 pounds of food scraps, and we've also diverted West Hartford Public Schools 29 tons of food scraps from the trash system in 2019. Just to give you an idea, that's enough to offset the emissions from 1,657 gallons of gasoline, the equivalent of 33,480 pounds of carbon dioxide, and equal to the carbon sequestered by planting 243 trees. So even in our little community, we can make a difference. Stormwater continues to be a challenge for us, and you're going to be hearing more about that. But with significant periods of rain, that's a really important thing for a community and also for the wearing of our roads. hear one common theme about West Hartford libraries. They're number one, and I like it, in the Hartford region. Our libraries are amazing, and I call them the kitchen of our community. In 2011, the first year we reported these numbers to the state, West Hartford borrowers checked out electronic materials 8,000 times. By contrast, in 2019, they were enjoyed 88,000 times, an increase in materials of 1,000. So imagine in a decade how libraries have really had to change the way they function. West Hartford Reads with Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, who is an incredibly award-winning Nigerian author, drew over 600 people and was really the talk of the region. There were book chats throughout the greater Hartford area, and people were turned away at the door. It was really an amazing event. We will continue to increase public awareness of library programs and services through branded marketing initiatives and further develop community partnerships with local organizations, and the library's success will really benefit all of us. Okay, that is our, Leisure Services' mission is to provide opportunities for a healthy body and a healthy mind so you can move like Jagger. And you know, he's older than me. He can really move. National 10-Minute Walk Initiative was something that was on the National Day to bring awareness to the benefits of living close to vibrant parks. And our senator in the back, actually Senator Slapp, joined me. We are unique. West Hartford is unique. A lot of communities have centralized parks, and people need to drive to them, or they're not so accessible. In West Hartford, I think 80% of our community lives walking distance to some form of park, which is really little jewels throughout our community. It's harder for us to maintain because of the decentralization, but it really is a benefit to our whole community in mind and body and spirit. We did a park bingo game, marking how those parks can be utilized, and we've combined efforts from neighbors that really want to focus on improvements to their neighborhood parks with Yukon landscape architects to make improvements to our local parks. And Friends of Fern was a leader in that, and Wolcott is working on it now. So we're excited to see what comes out of that initiative. Also, Celebrate West Hartford continues to be a phenomenal success and one of the best ranked entertainment events that happen in the region. Rockledge Golf Course is ranked best of, and we've increased our accessibility, and that's really important. And Beachland Pool, Sterling Field, Glover, Cornerstone Aquatic Center, Elmwood Community Center, and Fernridge Park. You will also see progress at Westmore, Eisenhower, and West Hartford Town Hall soon. Relief of distress or compassion shown to victims of misfortune is a blessing that is an act of divine compassion. We hear more and more from our residents that they need us now, and we are there. A social services department is really important to the functioning of our whole community. The Great Recession has impacted, and a lot of West Hartford, a lot of people never came back. Just in a decade, just look at the increased need. Food bags distributed went up 75%. Back to school program 67.3%. Thanksgiving program up over 100%. And children's holiday event went up 115%. So there's still people that are impacted, even though we have a good economy. There are many people that are underemployed. But one life crisis can throw you into a tailspin, whether it's a medical expense or a family member that has something. Jason Jakubowski, I know, is here, CEO of FoodShare. And he reports that West Hartford, FoodShare reported distributing 250,000 meals in West Hartford. But West Hartford residents and businesses donated $523,000 to FoodShare in 2019 and was by far the top town in our entire service area. So significant generosity. significant generosity, but continued need, right? And as you have seen, the little lapel pins with our new logo on them are beautiful. You can get your West Hartford lapel pin for a $2 donation that benefits the Town That Cares, which is our fund that assists residents experience a crisis situation hindering their ability to pay for food, utility bills, shelter costs, medical expenses, and other critical needs. It's funded 100% by contributions from generous individuals, businesses, and corporate groups. And I know many of you are supporters, so thank you for that. Yeah. Essie, that's for you. She's a Backstreet Boy. They are not popular over the last 10 years. Well, they may be, but for Essie, they are. And Essie is the best town clerk in the state of Connecticut, so we had to give her what she wanted. Essie continues to do more with less and has streamlined electronic agenda systems, absentee ballot system, and continues to make an office that was rather antiquated, and is antiquated in its roots, as technology savvy and as efficient as possible. Sorry, I went off script a little. We're almost there, almost there. Just give me a couple more. Assessment. You will be seeing we're doing a new 2021 revaluations coming your way. We actually, so it's a big impact on communities when they do that. We actually have done outreach to 3,200 residents who are 65 years of age and older to provide them with information on the town's elderly tax relief program. It's a busy, it's a busy department, and they've modernized the mass appraisal system, and again, you'll be hearing more about all of that. Plant and facilities. We have 2.3 million square feet of facilities in West Hartford. That's a lot. We care very deeply about how the care of these buildings impact our budget and the energy that costs to maintain them. So we've continued to invest, as we do for environmental reasons as well. It's economic and environmentally responsible to invest in alternative energy. So we continue to add solar to our buildings. We did an installation at Town Hall, and our largest installation will be going at KP fairly soon. We've increased 20% to over 20, almost 24% consumption, but our costs have remained the same while prices have gone up. So the budget impact has been stable. So we lead by example and continue to invest in solar. And by the end of 2020, I think you will see that the municipal's electricity use will be from 100% renewable sources, which is really remarkable. Information. Thank you. Information technology. We need to focus on cybersecurity. That is something that, as our schools also need to focus on new security measures and our faith institutions are. We also have information technology impacted by things that are happening. So we built out our own municipal fiber network that saves us close to $400,000 a year. So we don't have to pay for that, and we maintain it ourselves. We also have redundancy, so it's reliable. And we use technology to improve customer service, more technology access to our students, and we use technology to improve safety and security in all ways in life. Okay. Almost there. Community development, counting stars. We have some of the most knowledgeable staff to get you through every phase of a project, from planners and engineers to our building inspectors and economic development specialists. Soon you will be counting stars. We want your business to succeed and prosper in West Hartford. And as the proud mayor of West Hartford, one of the best communities in the state and the country, I understand the need to be creative and innovative and keep moving forward. I think many of you have heard me say before that if you stand still, still or even go too slow, you will lose the race. You need to keep moving. I have established a new town council committee focused on planning and economic development. This is an important focus of the council, and I'm chairing this committee. West Hartford is a largely developed community, so we have to capitalize on opportunities for development and redevelopment. Groundless growth is essential to our continued success. Investment leads to further investment. And yes, it helps with mill rates too. We're focused on streamlining our processes for approvals, improving customer service, enhancing zoning regulations to include and encourage sustainability, transit-oriented development, fostering public arts and cultural activities, build on the vibrancy and community engagement that makes West Hartford so special. At our council meeting this evening, we will be setting for March 10th a hearing date for an ordinance to allow entertainment in commercial districts, permitting creative uses for retail spaces. Recent improvements include the completion of the Park Road I-84 interchange that was funded 80%. Many of you, I'm sure, have come off that exit and avoided it maybe when it was under construction. 80% was federal funding, 10% was state funding, and 10% was town funding. We're proud of that. We have 16 miles of bike lanes and 50 miles of cycling routes in town, and we're building upon the Trout Brook Trail. In 2019, we welcomed 87 unique new businesses, 15 retail, 21 restaurants, and 51 commercial, and 43 were opened in the last quarter, so that's really, really neat. And we are finishing the hearings and approvals of the plan of conservation and development that we are required to do for the state of Connecticut and guides decisions that we make and how we develop our community. We're really close now. Hang on. So, I told you about the AAA bond rating, and that deserves applause. The best... Also, just a few months ago, we were voted Best STEM High Schools in America by Newsweek magazine, which is going to actually be a real draw for many businesses as well. I'm not going to go through all of them, but 2019 Best Small Cities in America, Most Educated Cities in America, 50 Best Places to Live in Money magazine, Best Place to Live in Connecticut, and so on. It's really a remarkable list, and I hope you will. It's on our town website. I'm happy to recite them if you would like, but they really are amazing. So, heading into the next decade, Census 2020 is here, and Connecticut receives more than $10 billion for education, transportation, and social services. It's important to count everyone. So you count, we count, let's make West Hartford count. As we move forward, it's important to reflect on who we are, on the successes we've had, and build on them. There was according to the Global Investors Perspective on True City Competitiveness, there are top 10 elements of a great city or great town. The difference between successful and unsuccessful communities is leadership. Numbers 1 and 2 on the list here. Communities succeed when leaders share a common vision for the future and work to realize the vision. People and businesses are drawn to communities that invest in themselves. Communities that are successful have positive government involvement, a track record for public and public-private partnerships, and continued investments with creativity in the public schools and deeply engaged college systems are indicators of the investment the community is making in itself. Another indicator is the condition of a downtown. A vibrant downtown is the heart and soul of a community. Why would a business invest in your community if you're not investing in yourself? They added a bonus element, a great craft brew industry, right guys? So, and we're fledgling, but we're getting there, and more will come. We are blessed to have so many of these elements and excited to build on our very, very strong successes. And with that, I have one more. I wanted to leave you with, is it up there? It's coming. Okay. I wanted to leave you with this in case you have not heard, as I did, on Saturday Night Live, breaking news, weekend update. Planters Company mascot, Mr. Peanut, has died, and according to his wishes, he was cremated. So, I just wanted to say, in the light of the Kobe Bryant's accident and the connections to UConn, to his 4 beautiful daughters, and the commitment he made to life and to being a great role model, life is fragile. We all need to take care of each other, build community, and make every day a little bit better than the day before, and make the place we are a little bit better. So laugh when you can, apologize when you should, let go of what you can't change, and have a fabulous 2020.